Morning, everyone. Welcome to another wonderful episode here at Doctors of Podiatry. Today we have the good fortune of having a pediatric patient with a wart. We haven't had a video in a while. I don't know why. We do see a lot of warts, and for whatever reason we haven't videoed a good wart. Maybe they're just too small. But anyways, today we have a patient who has presented with mom with a medium-sized wart. And I was talking to mom, and basically the story goes like this. The parents, mom or dad, they'll take a look at the lesion and they'll think it's maybe a little callus, very small, they won't think anything of it, kind of leave it alone. Then they'll realize that it may be a plantar wart after they go to Dr. Google. And then they go to Walgreens or CVS or one of these, pharmacies, and pick up an over-the-counter item like a patch or one of these plantar wart patches, which actually makes it worse. And historically, I've seen that these patches just make everything worse. And the virus, right, the plantar wart, the virus, because the wart is a virus, just doesn't like it. And there's I'm gonna say a counter reaction, right, to the patch. The wart doesn't like it, and it says, you know what? For doing that, watch this, and it just continues to even grow bigger, right? So let's take a look at here the schematic, right? This is the top, this is the bottom, right? And inside the wart, this is the skin, this is the top, right? And in here you have these little blood vessels, right? And the way that these warts survive is by blood. Blood keeps them alive. So a lot of people, when they see these lesions, they may see black little dots. And I'm gonna show you guys. And the black little dots are actually the tips of these little blood vessels that, for whatever reason, maybe the patient has, playing around or whatever, they squash them, poof, sometimes explode, and they're just kind of dry blood, right? So that's why they survive so well. Then they have, we'll say, little roots, right? Virus has roots, and on the top here, then you have callus. So what we want to do is remove first all the callus, okay? Get down to a certain level, and at that point, then apply whatever the solution, whatever the physician decides to apply. In our case, for the last 10 years or so, I have a very basic protocol that works, right? We keep everything simple. And what works, it's either, I only have two, even though there's a lot of different treatments out there, including cryotherapy. I can go on and on, chemical solutions, cryotherapy, sometimes they burn them and sometimes they excise them. So we have, in my protocol, it's either A or B, depending on the size. If it's small, medium to small, we use canthrone. Okay, canthrone. Canthrone is actually derived, believe it or not, from a beetle. That's why we call it beetle juice. That's number one. Number two, right, is surgical excision. We essentially numb the patient and we essentially just carve it out, because we know that the canthrone is not going to do the job. So again, there are different types of warts. This is just a single wart. What we see a lot is a mosaic style type wart, where there's let's say a mom, and around the mom there's a couple little babies like that, right? Then that's kind of very commonly seen, right? The roots sprouted these little ones around. So without further ado, let's go ahead. The first thing that we're going to do is going to trim the callus, okay? And this is a great case for a lot of reasons. And again, this is not going to hurt. you know, with kids, you know, everyone knows that I love kids and I love treating kids. I'd like to be very, very clear, even when they see a little blade. So the only thing I ask from the kids is just to please not to move. That's all. And if they feel any discomfort, they'll let me know, you know. So let's come around here. So this wart is about maybe 5 or 6 millimeters both ways. And look closely in the middle here, Wesley. Take a look at those black dots. Can you get a shot of that? That's what I'm talking about, those black dots. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead now and just slowly, just like that, okay? And we just kind of just trim off a little bit, very carefully, just like that. We're okay? Okay. See, and there's another black dot right there. That's what I was talking about on the whitey board. So the way that we use the cantharin, it's a chemical solution, right? And basically, it desquamates. That's a big word. It desquamates. Basically, it eats away all that tissue, and it creates maybe a blister. A blister. The blister may pop on its own. It usually does when the patient puts their foot down. It'll pop. And if it doesn't, sometimes I tell the mom or dad to just give us a call if it doesn't pop, because it could create a little bit more discomfort after. And as everyone can see, you guys can actually start to see how you know, the sheer size of it. Because now the callus, how you doing up there? Let's show mom. Okay, so you see here, and once we remove the callus, you guys can actually see kind of like a cauliflower-like white tissue, and that's the actual wart. Right? And so we try to go as deep as we can, and the patient will tell us when to stop. Believe it or not, she'll say ow, or he will say ow. And she has put her, okay, let's see if we can take a little bit maybe from the side here. We'll stop there. It's okay there? Okay. So the way that I was going to say before, the way that the cantharin, the beetle juice works is, we'll go ahead and apply it today. They have to keep it clean, covered, and dry for 48 hours. So that means they cannot wet they can't wet the foot, because water deactivates the cantharin, also known as the beetle juice. Okay, we'll stop there. Let's take a little bit more from here, actually. Okay, so we got the... Okay, so that's the first part of the procedure. Now we're going to proceed to the second part of the procedure. Beetlejuice. Looking at the size of the wart, I would say maybe 2 to 3 applications. Okay, and this cantharin has been a true practice builder for our practice, because, you know, when kids come to our office, they're, number one, very anxious, nervous, and they think that they're going to get an injection, or they just don't know what to expect. And this is kind of like the nice thing. This is kind of like the nice thing about the cantharin. And the problem is that it crystallizes. Let's give it a little swirl here. This is extremely strong. Okay. So we basically do this. And just like that, I am putting a little bit more than the usual because the patient will be leaving out of the country, and we're sort of on a timeline here. So I put a little bit more than usual. This is very, very strong. So we'll also, I left a little bit of tissue there. We're going to send the tissue also anytime that we scrape anything out of any type of dermatological manifestation. In this case here, we send it out to have it analyzed. Very, very important, okay? We'll let it dry. As everyone can see now, it's turning from brown to white. And that's the reaction, okay? If you wait like another 30 seconds, the whole thing, right? The brown from the beetle juice will turn white, and it's already turning white here. So this is a this is a great case, okay? And lastly, what I was talking to Mom about, yes, it is a virus. She asked me, is it contagious? It is. It's a virus, but you know, how does the wart actually move, right? The wart is maybe everywhere, and how does the wart get into into the foot, right? There has to be an opening. There has to be an opening. And once there's an opening, that's where the wart really takes advantage. Says, aha, there's that. Oh, we got an opening, let's go. And then it depends on the environment, right? Pools, public areas, locations, and that's sort of also a contributory factor of, you know, there could be, you know, warty virus on this floor. I'm just giving you guys an example. But if there's nothing on the bottom of the foot that's open, then the virus will not be able to inoculate. That's why a lot of kids also, where do they get them? In their elbows. Why? Because they're always on their elbows, maybe sitting down like this, playing on the floor. Also the knees, when they're on their knees, right? And then their knees start to kind of like peel a little bit. That's where the virus goes in. Okay? So we'll put a bandage, and I think we're all set here. Okay? I hope this video has been informative for parents and non-parents, and for the entire world, like always. Any questions? Questions? Like always, www.jawspodiatry.com, Instagram Dr. Tojan, Facebook Jaws Podiatry, and our YouTube channel Jaws Healthcare. Thank you for always watching our wonderful videos. Ciao.